Today on Public Eye News, Northern Michigan University has announced some staffing changes made, including the Director of Student Success. And later, the latest financial settlement in Wisconsin amidst the opioid crisis.
Coming up, I will have your Public Eye Sports Report, and stick around because I'll also be bringing you the weather forecast for the next couple of days. I'm Bradley Seaborg.
And I'm Liam Eulenjoy. This is Public Eye News. NMU President Brock Tessman has announced several organizational changes at the university. Denise Brennis will fill the role of Director of Student Success beginning December 2nd. Her office will become part of the Academic Affairs pillar, and she will report directly to Provost Ann Dahlman. The Dean of Students Office, Veteran Services, Student Support Services, and Disability Services will all be moved to the Northern Student Experience pillar and continue reporting to Mary Brundage. On top of that, the university will be getting a new Faculty Athletic Representative, or FAR. The FAR position is required for all NCAA member colleges and will be filled at NMU by Associate Professor Kevin Berry. And the Marquette County Conservation District is now accepting pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, and gourds for drop-off. Rather than decomposing in the trash, the members of the gourd family will be taken to Partridge Creek Compost for composting. The process of composting helps the pumpkins get recycled into nutrient-rich soil instead of producing greenhouse gas in a landfill. The Conservation District and Partridge Creek work closely together with startup funds for the curbside compost program coming from the MCCD. Those looking to donate their fall porch decorations can bring them to the Marquette County District Office, located at 780 Commerce Drive in Marquette. Pumpkins must be unpainted or have the paint washed off of them and will be collected until November 30th.
The Mackinac Bridge Authority is set to meet tomorrow, November 8th, to discuss the 2024-25 resurfacing project. The authority will meet in the International Bridge Administration in Sault Ste. Marie and will also set the meeting schedule for 2025 and look at reports from the Finance Committee and the Tolls, Fees, and Classifications Committee. The meeting will begin at 9 a.m. in the James L. McIntyre Boardroom, and the full meeting will be available on YouTube if you cannot attend in person. The full meeting agenda is available on the MBA website. And the Michigan Gaming Control Board has announced that BetMGM, the platform provider for MGM Grand Detroit, has been authorized to enable shared liquidity for multi-state internet poker games between Michigan and New Jersey. The authorization allows BetMGM to match players in Michigan against players in New Jersey in games like No Limit Hold'em, Pot Limit Omaha High and High Low, along with Fixed Limit 7-card Stud. In 2022, Michigan joined the Multi-State Internet Gaming Agreement, allowing players in Michigan to compete against players from other jurisdictions through authorized operators. The authorization aims to expand the scale of online poker games available to Michigan and provide a more engaging and competitive experience for all players. And a groundbreaking treatment for type 1 diabetes is being tested and showing promising results for patients who use insulin. Darius Johnson has more from Chicago. Take a look.
Here at UChicago Medicine, life-changing transplants are being conducted for type 1 diabetic patients.
This medication has a great potential to be less toxic to the patient and be more beneficial, providing better outcomes in islet transplantation.
That medication is tegoprubart, modified over the last 25 years to help bring positive results for type 1 diabetic patients who use insulin, patients like Marlena Godell.
I have so much more energy. I feel so free.
For 25 years, she has lived with type 1 diabetes.
I would go to sleep at night and think, this might be my last night. I might not wake up and see my daughter ever again.
She says her tipping point was when her daughter found her on the floor after her sugar crashed. She then talked to 3 doctors about islet cell clinical trials and got nowhere until she researched.
I emailed the University of Chicago and essentially just wrote out my entire life story and just saying, please help, I've had enough.
That was last October, and on July 17th, she went in for her procedure.
They just kind of made a very small incision and then injected the islet cells into my liver because, well, my pancreas don't work, so they injected them into the liver.
3 weeks after the procedure, she was off insulin. For that, she thanks trial co-investigator Dr. Peter Wachowski.
Her life was severely compromised, and she couldn't live like this anymore.
Looking forward to helping the other diabetics get their hope back.
3 months later, she's living a life like never before. Darius Johnson, CBS News.
Now don't touch that dial. After this short break, Bradley Seaborg will be back with your Public Eye Sports Report. You won't want to miss it.
With nearly 1 in 3 Upper Michigan residents enrolled in Medicare, this time of year can bring about stress, confusion, and indecision, all because of the annual Medicare open enrollment period. On the next Media Meet, our Medicare experts are back to discuss the latest tweaks in Medicare coverage so that you can decide whether changes to your plan are warranted. Your 2024 Medicare update is next time on Media Meet.
Welcome back. This is our Public Eye Sports Report. Starting off in the NHL, the Detroit Red Wings took down their old rivals, the Chicago Blackhawks, last night in the Windy City. The Wings improved to 6-5-1 and make it 2 wins in a row as they look to start building some momentum off the back of a 3-game losing streak. Momentum was the story of the game last night as well. Alex DeBrincat jammed home a bouncing puck with 2 seconds remaining in the first period to put the Wings up 1-0 and give them a surge of momentum heading to the intermission. Detroit would steal Chicago's momentum away when they retook the lead just 4 minutes after the Blackhawks' Nick Foligno tied the game in the second period. Foligno's goal would be the Blackhawks' only of the game, as the Wings would pot 2 more in the third to win 4-1. And staying in Detroit, the Pistons' 2-game win streak would come to an end last night against the Charlotte Hornets. A Brandon Miller putback just before the buzzer sounded would seal the win for the Charlotte club, just their 3rd win of the year. Just moments beforehand, Miller had nearly lost the game for the Hornets, coughing up the ball while caught in a double team, a turnover that would give the Pistons the lead with 6.3 seconds remaining. Miller would grab the rebound off a Grant Williams missed 3-pointer and laid it off the glass as time expired. Notably absent on the final play was Pistons center and leading rebounder Jalen Duren, who left the game in the second quarter with an ankle injury. Cade Cunningham had another triple-double for the Pistons, and Jaden Ivey continues to score the ball well with 21 points in the contest. The Pistons' next matchup is against the 4-5 Atlanta Hawks on Friday at home in Little Caesars Arena. And heading into the final weekend of the GLIAC regular season, NMU women's soccer sits atop the standings. Grand Valley sits just 1 point behind them, and the matchup between them tonight at 5 p.m. could decide the regular season championship. The Wildcats head into the matchup at 9-2-1 in conference play, their only losses coming against Davenport on the road and their previous matchup against Grand Valley in the first GLIAC game of the season. NMU's defense has been impeccable this season, conceding only 2 goals in their last 6 games. Following the game against the Lakers, the Cats will take on the 5th-place Saginaw Valley Cardinals in their final game of the regular season. The Lakers will face Tech at home in their final game of the regular season on Sunday. That's all I've got for sports. Back to the desk.
Thank you for that sports update, Brad, but now it's time for some more news, starting with this. The elections earlier this week have brought about fundamental change to the makeup of the Michigan House of Representatives. Republicans have retaken their majority in the chamber after losing it in 2022. This result breaks the governmental trifecta held by the Democratic Party since those midterms. Dems still hold the Michigan Senate, which was not contested this year, and the governor's office held by Gretchen Whitmer. A few races have yet to be called, but won't affect control of the State House. That's because the GOP only needed to win 2 seats to gain a majority. State House GOP leader Matt Hall said that Michigan will now have a stronger voice fighting for the values of hardworking families. On the other side of the aisle, Democratic House Speaker Joe Tate described the election results as an opportunity to regroup. And a bipartisan coalition of 30 state attorneys general have announced a settlement with Kroger over its role in the opioid crisis. The settlement is $1.37 billion in total. Of that amount, Wisconsin will receive $21.8 million. That's because Kroger operates over 100 grocery stores in the state under its own name and subsidiaries. The money is meant for opioid abatement, with payments beginning next year. This new money to Wisconsin brings the state up to a total of $780 million to deal with the opioid crisis in total. Kroger has also agreed to an injunctive relief package. Among its mandates is a requirement that Kroger pharmacies monitor and report on all suspicious activity related to opioid prescriptions. And climate scientists say 2024 will almost certainly be the hottest year on record for a 2nd year in a row. These stats accompany concern on how Trump's next term will affect global climate change. To tell us more, here's Tina Kraus of CBS News.
Look no further than Japan's famous Mount Fuji to see how record heat is changing the landscape. Snow finally fell on the picturesque peak this week, about a month late, the slowest snowfall in 130 years.
It was beautiful with the snow, and that was kind of what our expectations were coming.
Climate scientists say 2024 is set to be the hottest ever, shattering heat records just like last year. The torrid trends come ahead of next week's COP29 United Nations Climate Change Conference. And some leaders worry President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House could slow global climate action.
This election result, we really get very concerned that all the talks are now going to be what will happen in the absence of the U.S.
Trump has called climate change a hoax and is promising to boost oil drilling and production. Climate experts say severe droughts, devastating hurricanes, and relentless rain like the floods that hit Spain last week signal more climate chaos to come.
There is very strong evidence suggesting that many of these extreme events have become more intense because of climate change.
Climate researchers say data clearly shows cutting greenhouse gases from the atmosphere is the only way to protect the planet and break the world's scorching heat streaks. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Next week's UN Climate Change Conference is expected to focus on how to avoid more warming and how to help the world transition to clean energy. Now let's head over to Brad with today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Liam. Now it's time for our Public Eye weather report. Starting off with a look at beautiful Marquette. Behind me, we can see not a lot of clouds in the sky and not a lot of wave action in the harbor. Taking a look across the peninsula, we've got warmer than averages temperatures across the peninsula, about 5 degrees on average. Starting off in the north up at Houghton, we've got a temperature of 48 and some very windy conditions, gusting as high as 35 miles an hour. Moving towards Ironwood, 47 and sunny, 49 and partly sunny in Iron Mountain, 52 and sunny in Menominee. Looking at the eastern side of the peninsula, 51 in Escanaba with some partly sunny skies, 50 in Manassik with some more partly sunny skies, 49 and cloudy in the Sioux, and back in beautiful Marquette, it is 50 and partly sunny. Taking a closer look at those current conditions, winds out of the west-southwest at 12 miles an hour and the barometric pressure of 30.09 inches and falling. Looking towards tonight, we'll have some mostly clear skies with a low of 51, winds southwest at 15 miles an hour, and the moon phase of a waxing crescent. Looking towards tomorrow, sunny skies, a high of 49, low of just 32, and winds northwest at 10 miles an hour. Looking towards our weekend forecast, Saturday, a high of 51, mostly sunny skies, and a low of 41. Sunday and Monday, we've got some rain moving in. High on Sunday of 49, a low of 41. On Monday, a high of 50 and a low of just 35 at night. Should be very cold. That's it for the weather report. We'll be right back after this short break.
From ladybird deeds to traffic violations, the law can be confusing. WNMU TV is here to help. Local lawyers.
That's not even admissible in court.
Answering your questions.
Caller from Houghton's asking, this caller from Escanaba says, caller from Negaunee asked.
So that's a super complicated question, and here's why.
If you say no and you continue to stick to your no, that gives your lawyer something to work with.
Ask the Lawyers, Thursday at 8 p.m.
Well, welcome back to the desk, Brad. Thank you for that weather update, but now it's time for one more story. NMU Theater and Dance will be putting on a performance of a stage play adaptation of Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein. Shows will be at the Black Box Theater tonight through Sunday. Tickets available online at nmu.universitytickets.com. And I'm actually going to be attending that performance tonight. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We normally have some fantastic productions through our theater and media programs.
That's been my experience. I went to Cabaret earlier this year, and I've done some other ones in the past. It's historically been a very strong program. But that's all the time we have left today at Public Eye News. I'm Liam Eulen-Joy.
I'm Bradley Seaborg.
And we'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth.